Καλώς ορίσατε στο πρώτο BetterLifeDay στην Αθήνα. Το πρώτο στην Ελλάδα, αλλά έπεται και συνέχεια στο Βανκούβερ, στο Μεξικό, αλλά και στη Σιγκαπούρη. Η ιδρύτρια Τζιλ Δούκα μαζί με την ομάδα της κατάφεραν να ενώσουν πάνω από 90 εθελοντές, περισσότερες από 56 εταιρείες χορηγούς, φυσικά όλους εμάς, αλλά και διεθνούς φήμες ομιλητές. Όπως λέει μια αφρικανική παροιμία, είτε είσαι μέρος του προβλήματος, είτε είσαι μέρος της λύσης. Και σήμερα βρισκόμαστε όλοι μαζί εδώ για να βρούμε λύσεις για μια ισορροπημένη, για μια καλύτερη ζωή σε όλα τα επίπεδα. Ονομάζομαι Βλάχου Μαρία και σπούδασα το πάθος μου, τις ξένες γλώσσες. Έζησα για πολλά χρόνια στο εξωτερικό, αλλά θέλοντας να επιστρέψω στην Ελλάδα, δυστυχώς δεν κατάφερνα να βρω δουλειά πάνω σε αυτό που αγαπούσα. Τι να έκανα, να το έβαζα κάτω, τζάμπα ο κόπος, τζάμπα τόσες σπουδές. Όχι, αποφάσισα να ασχοληθώ, αλλά και να αγαπήσω κάτι τελείως διαφορετικό, τα σαλιγκάρια. Και έτσι κατάφερα να συνδυάσω την αγάπη μου για τις ξένες γλώσσες και τον πρωτογενή τομέα, ταξιδεύοντας αλλά και εξάγοντας σε όλο τον κόσμο. Έτσι και η Carol Talbot, η οποία είναι σήμερα εδώ μαζί μας, για να μας βοηθήσει να βρούμε πώς να κάνουμε αυτό που αγαπάμε, αλλά και πώς να αγαπάμε αυτό που κάνουμε. Η Carol είναι μια διεθνής φήμης ομιλήτρια, έχει δώσει τις τεχνικές της σε όλη την Ευρώπη, στην Αμερική, στην Αφρική, αλλά και στη Μέση Ανατολή. Είναι εκπαιδεύτρια νευρογλωσσολογικού προγραμματισμού, θεωρείται Master Trainer και είναι γνωστή ως Master Fire Starter. Τώρα τι σημαίνει αυτό? Απλά βάζει τους ανθρώπους να περπατάνε πάνω στα κάρβουνα. Μην ανησυχείτε, σήμερα δεν θα το κάνει σε εμάς. Παρακαλώ, χαμηλώστε όλοι τα κινητά σας και ας υποδεχτούμε με ένα θερμό χειροκρότημα την Κάρολ.
Τι κάνεις? That's my Greek, I'm afraid. How are you doing? So look, I have a question for you all, and here's the good news. You all have the answer. And the question is, how are things going in your life right now? How are things going in your life? So if you're working, how's that going? If you're not working, what would you like to be doing? And what about your relationships? So how are things going in your life right now? Now, often when I ask that question, some people say, it's absolutely brilliant, Carol, it's amazing, it's wonderful. And then you get the other people who say, it's absolutely awful. You know, we're in a crisis, we're in a down economy. So what is the difference between successful people and unsuccessful people? And it seems to me that successful people do things differently inside their head. So today, if I could give you a way to find out whether what you're doing inside your head is helping you, moving you towards doing what you love and loving what you do, or if what you're doing inside your head is moving you in the wrong direction, would there be value in that for you? Would that be useful? To discover what you're doing inside your head. Now, here's the other thing that I found out about successful people, is that they are doing what they love and they love what they do. They have a passion, they have a drive, and they have a lot of focus. They have a focus and they're prepared to do whatever it takes to get the results that they want. Now, a friend of mine is a business consultant, and a couple of months ago he was sharing with me an experience he'd had with a prospective client. He'd gone in to see the client, and it helped the client get really clear about the results that he wanted to get. And about halfway through the conversation, the client turned to my friend, the consultant, and he said, are you one of these consultants that's going to make us jump up in the air, wave our arms around, and do all sorts of crazy things? Well, my consultant friend turned and said, no. And if that's what it took, jumping up and down, waving your arms up in the air, if that's what it took to get the results that you want, would you do it? And the client said, absolutely not. So my question to each and every one of you is, what would you be prepared to do today and afterwards? What would you be prepared to do to get the results that you want. Because if you think about it, it's all about results. If you're employed in an organization, it's about getting results. And if you're not getting results, then you're no longer useful to the organization. If you're an entrepreneur, it's also about setting up a business that creates results, not only for yourself, but maybe for the world at large. So it's all about results. Now, just for a moment, consider, how do you get your results? And if you think about it, our results are driven by what we actually do. Our results are driven by our behavior, our actions. And your actions are driven by what skills and what capabilities that you have. Now, if you would, just for a moment, imagine a tree. And on that tree, there's some fruit. And you go and you pick that fruit. You bite into that fruit, but it doesn't taste nice. It's not sweet enough, it's not ripe enough, it's not juicy enough. So what would you do if you wanted bigger fruit, sweeter fruit, juicier fruit? What would you do? I guess you could wait. Wait for the fruit to ripen. Or maybe you could climb higher. Just for a moment, consider what actually creates the fruit. It's the tree, right? And what creates the tree? It's the seed. It's the roots. So it's the roots that create the fruits. It's the roots that create the fruits. So just waiting for more fruit doesn't create more fruit. And if you think about the fruits of your efforts in life are the results that you get. So just sitting and waiting for results doesn't create more results. We need to dig a little bit deeper. So one of the things I do when I work for organizations is I may be asked to go into organizations and do what I call skills and capabilities training. It could be service excellence, it could be team building, it could be leadership, or maybe even presentation skills. And here's what I found. Over the years, just giving people the skills and capabilities very rarely ends up in a change in the results. We need to dig deeper down to get to the root, to get to the heart of the problem. So one of the things I do when I work with organizations and individuals is I help them develop an attitude. Now, maybe I should just reiterate that, because there's a big difference between having an attitude and having the right attitude. So I'm talking about having a positive attitude, having a can-do attitude. So one of the things I do is I move people very quickly in some of the activities that we do from I can't do to I can do. So it means that now we've got people who've got a positive attitude, they've got a can-do attitude. We give them maybe some skills and capabilities in maybe leadership, service excellence, maybe presentation skills. Do you think we're going to see a shift in the results? Yes or no? What do you think? So some of you are saying yes here. Sorry, it's no. We're not going to see, we might see a few shifts and changes. We still need to dig a little bit deeper. Because here's the thing. Even if people have got a can-do attitude, a positive attitude, even if they've got the right skills and capabilities, even if they're taking action, here's the thing. If they don't believe that they can get the job that they really want, if they don't believe that they can do what they love and love what they do and make a living out of it, let me tell you, nothing will change. Have any of you ever heard that saying, whether you believe you can or whether you believe you can't, you're probably right? It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. And here's the other thing, ladies and gentlemen. Your beliefs are behind literally every single thing that you do, whether you know it or not. They drive all your behavior. Let me give you an example of this. So a couple of years ago, I was doing some training overseas. I love traveling. I was doing some training overseas, and I was staying in a beautiful hotel, and my room was up on the 5th floor. And the training that I was running was down on the ground floor. And on one of the breaks, I had about 15, 20 minutes to rush up to my room, get something from my room, and get back down and start the next session. So I needed to be quick. So I rushed up to my room, and you know when you go into a hotel these days, you're given one of those card keys? So I had one of those card keys and put it in the lock, and the red light came up. Has that ever happened to you? So I turned it over, put the key in again, and red light came up. And you know when that happens, you kind of don't believe it, so you do it about 10 times just to make sure that you really can't get in your room. So rather than go all the way down to reception, I had my mobile phone with me. So I called the reception desk and I said, look here, my card key is not activated. I need to get in my room, and I need to get in my room now. I'm in a rush. I told them exactly what I wanted. And I waited. And I waited. And I waited. So I called them again. I said, look here, I'm still waiting. You need to send someone up here or activate my room card key. Now I'm in a real rush. Now, let me just say, this was kind of like the polite version of what I said to them. Can you get the idea? So, just as I was telling them what I thought of them, the elevator door opened and out walked one of the hotel employees, and he said, Miss Carol. And I said, yes, about time. He said, Miss Carol, I'm here to escort you to your room on the 5th floor. Yes, it was at that moment that I realized I was only on the 4th floor and my card key was working. Now, for what purpose do I share this with you? Well, at the time, when I was on the 4th floor, I believed I was right, they were wrong. So, did my belief that I was right, did it impact how I behaved, how I communicated with them? You bet. So my question to each and every one of you is, what if your beliefs about what is and isn't possible were completely wrong? Now, as you heard when Maria introduced me, she said I was often referred to as a fire starter. Because one of the things I do is I teach people to walk across burning hot coals of about 1700 degrees Fahrenheit. So you can breathe. As you know, we're not going to do that now. Maybe later. And often one of the questions I'm asked is, well, Carol, does the world really need more people who can walk across burning hot coals of 1700 degrees Fahrenheit? Well, the answer to that question, if I'm honest, is no. But I'll tell you what the world does need is people who can face their fears with courage. And I've seen the fire inspire that sort of courage in people. So is the fire walk about getting people to walk across burning hot coals? No, it's about shifting their mindset to move them from can't do to I can do very quickly. So again, I reiterate, what if your beliefs about what is possible or not were completely wrong? So when I work with people, it's about helping them break through their beliefs about what is and isn't possible. We also help them develop a positive attitude. We give them maybe skills and capabilities in service excellence or leadership, maybe team building or presentation skills. So now, do you think we're going to see a shift in the results? Yes or no? What do you think? I've got a few yeses here. Possibly. Because we still need to dig a little bit deeper. Because here's the thing. If it's not important for you to do what you love and love what you do, if it's not important to you, then nothing is going to change. Let me ask a question. How many of you here have ever set yourself a goal and achieved that goal? How many of you have ever in your life set a goal and achieved it? Fabulous. Okay, so let me ask you another question. How many of you have ever set yourself a goal and not achieved that goal? Yes, that's what I thought. So what's the difference between the goal that you set and achieved and the goal that you set that you didn't achieve? And I rather suspect that the goal that you set and achieved was something that was really important to you, whereas the goal that you set and you didn't achieve was one of those goals that if you achieve it, it'd be nice, but if you didn't, it didn't really matter. So what am I talking about here? I'm talking about your values. And your values are what I like to call your guiding force and your driving force. They're behind literally every single thing that you do, whether you know it or not. And they're the reason that you came here today. Something got you up early this morning at a weekend to put everything else the weekend aside and be here. Something was important to you. So your values are your guiding force and your driving force. They're behind literally every single thing that you do. Now we're going back a while. Do any of you remember the first Superman movie? Doesn't matter if you don't, but in that movie, Lois Lane turns to Superman and she says, "What do you stand for?" Quick as a flash, he says, "Truth and justice." Now, of course, we may not agree with his values, and we may not agree with a man who wears a unitard, underpants on the outside, and zooms off into outer space. But he sure knew what he stood for. Do you know what you stand for? Do you know what's your guiding force and your driving force? Because I tell you what, when you're clear about what you stand for and you get that alignment between your values and your results, it's like rocket fuel. There's nothing holding you back. And I always say it's like the difference between a match and a volcano. If you strike a match, it lights up, it flickers, and it dies out very quickly. For many of us, that's our motivation strategy. We're fired up for a moment, and then something goes wrong, and it dies out. But just for a moment, consider a volcano. A volcano comes from the core of the earth, and it has a power that's everlasting. Just imagine for a moment being able to tap into that core within each and every one of you, to be able to switch on that fire anytime, any place, anywhere. That's rocket fuel. And that's when you have that focus, that energy, that alignment, that fire to do what you want, love what you do, and have that passion, that drive. So the question is, how do you get that alignment? Well, it starts by discovering what you're doing inside your head. Now, some of you may be surprised to know that we actually do 6 things inside our head at any given time. So if you're looking at the person next to you, wondering if there's anything going on inside their head, we actually do 6 things inside our head at any given time. We see pictures, we hear sounds, we smell, we taste, we have feelings, and here's the important one. We talk to ourselves inside our head. So if any of you are going, do I talk to myself inside my head? You talk to yourself inside your head. The question is, what are you saying to yourself? Is it moving you towards doing what you love? Is it helping you, or is it hindering you and moving you in the wrong direction? Because here's the thing, whatever is going on the outside affects what happens on the inside. Whatever's going on the outside affects what goes on the inside. How does that work? Well, people often look at me strangely because I bring a big slice of lemon with me wherever I go. I like to travel with a lemon. I'm not sure if you can all see that, but it's a lovely, ripe piece of lemon, and it's actually so juicy it's already dripping. Can you all see that? And what I'm going to do is what's happening inside your mouth? What's happening inside your mouth? I saw some people, as I was about to do that, going, is your mouth watering? Well, I'll tell you right now, my mouth is really watering. So if you're near the front, if I spit on you in the next few minutes, then I'm sorry about that. Maybe that's the reason nobody wanted to sit too close to the front. Well, the fact is, you didn't bite into the lemon. I did, but you saw me do it, and it created a reaction inside of you. Because everything that's going on in the outside world impacts you on the inside. So when you read about the country in crisis, when you read about people in trouble, it impacts you on the inside. However, here's the thing. Whatever you're doing on the inside also affects the results that you get on the outside. How does that work? Well, I suspect by now that you've already figured out from my accent that I'm English. However, I don't live in England, I live in the Middle East, and I've lived in the Middle East for about 20 years. And one of the reasons I live in a different part of the world is I really dislike the cold weather. So I very, very rarely go back to England in the winter months. But a couple of years ago, I did go back in the winter months, and it was absolutely freezing. So when I go back, I'm literally hat, gloves, scarf, jacket, you name it, I'm wearing it. And this time I was shopping in a particularly delightful part of London called Covent Garden, going in and out of the stores, and I was freezing cold. What caught my eye was on the street corner, there was a tramp, a homeless man. And although he had a big jacket on, what caught my eye was that he had bare feet. He was wearing open-toed sandals and nothing on his feet. And I thought to myself, his feet must be absolutely freezing. I'm going to do something about that. So I rushed into the nearest store and I bought the thickest, fluffiest, woolliest socks that I could possibly find with the intention of giving them to this homeless man. Well, as it turned out, that was the easy part. Because every time I went outside to give him these big, fluffy, woolly socks, I had this voice inside my head that went something along the lines of, "Are you nuts, Carol? Are you crazy? He may not want socks. He could be rude, he could be abusive, he might be drunk." And I had this image of him attacking me. And I couldn't give him the socks. Now, has anything like that ever happened to you, where you're really going for it? Maybe you're about to go into an important meeting or interview, and you're really excited and you're really revved up. And just as you're about to walk into that meeting, there's that little voice inside your head, and it goes something along the lines of, "I hope I don't mess this up." Guess what? You mess it up. Or have any of you ever had that experience where you're about to maybe do a pitch for a new business, or you've got an idea that you want to present to some people? Or maybe it is a presentation. You're prepared, you're rehearsed, you know exactly what to say, where to stand, what to do. And just as you're about to walk out, again, there's that little voice inside your head. And this time it says something along the lines of, I hope I don't forget what I've got to say. And as you walk out, your mind goes a complete blank. Has that ever happened to you? Would you like to know why that happens to you? So you need to listen carefully to this. You can't think about what you don't want to think about without thinking about it. So think about that. Shall I say that again? Slowly. You can't think about what you don't want to think about without thinking about it. So if I say to you, whatever you do, don't think of a blue camel, what's the first thing that pops into your mind? I told you not to think of a blue camel, because we cannot process negatives. So here's the deal. If you say to your partner in the morning, "Don't forget your briefcase," the message they get is, "Forget your briefcase." If you say to your friend, "Don't slam the door," the message they get is, "Bang, slam the door." Or if you say to your friend, "Don't eat all my chocolates," the message they get is, "Eat the chocolates." So your first tip for success is say it the way that you want it. Focus on what you want and what you don't want, rather than what you don't want. Here's one of my favorite examples. Have you ever been in a coffee shop or a bar with your friends, and you're chatting away, and your friend leans over it and they go, "Don't look round now, but," and you're like, you kind of like, you gotta look, haven't you? Because we cannot process negatives. So are you up for a little experiment with me? You up for a little experiment? I'm not a big fan of people sitting down for too long, so can I ask you all to stand up for a moment? Now, you don't need any pens, pencils, ladies, you don't need your handbags. And can I ask you just to spread out a little, that if you moved your arms around, you wouldn't hit anybody else in the face unless you really wanted to. Okay, now what I want you to do is to face me, and you're going to point at me. You can point at me, no blaming, just point at me. So stretch your right arm out and point at me. Fabulous. Ah, scary. So point at me, and here's what I want you to do. Careful of not hitting anyone else. What I'd like you to do is just take your right arm behind you as far as you can go. Just take it as far as you can go without stretching or straining, and notice who or what you're pointing at. Just notice who or what you're pointing at. Have you gone as far as you can go? Have you gone as far as you can go? That's the audience participation bit, you know, where I ask a question and you answer. So take your arm back again. Take it as far as you can go. Have you gone as far as you can go? Can't hear you. Good. Okay, come back, face the front, take your hand down by your side. Now what I'd like you to do is to close your eyes, and I've got my eyes open so I do know who's cheating. So what I'd like you to do is to close your eyes, and with your eyes closed, I want you to imagine you're stretching your right arm out in front of you. Just imagine, get a picture in your mind of stretching your right arm out in front of you. Keep your eyes closed and imagine you're stretching your right arm out in front of you. See what you see, hear what you hear, feel what you feel, notice what you notice as you imagine your right arm going round the hands of a clock, maybe to 1 o'clock. Maybe your hands gliding effortlessly and easily to 2 o'clock, to 3, maybe to 4, 5, 6, effortlessly and easily, going even further to 7 o'clock, 8, maybe to 9 o'clock. See what you see, hear what you hear, feel what you feel, notice what you notice as your arm goes so much further than it did before, maybe to 10 o'clock, maybe even to 11 o'clock. Get a clear image in your mind, get clear sounds, clear feelings. See what you see, hear what you hear, feel what you feel. Notice what you notice as your arm just glides effortlessly and easily much further than it did before. Good. Open your eyes, stretch your right arm out in front of you, and then what I want you to do is to take it behind you. Did it go further? Fantastic, hallelujah, it's a miracle. Stay standing, stay standing. Just stay standing for a moment. Oh, they like to sit down a lot. If I'm standing, you can stand. So, what happened there? Well, remember I said whatever you're doing inside your head affects the results that you get on the outside. So all I did was gave you a little visualization exercise. So, I asked you to visualize and imagine and feel and hear your arm going so much further than it did before. And because you made a clear image on the inside, it affected the results that you got on the outside. And that was in just 10 seconds. Imagine if you're spending an hour or 2 hours or a day focused on what you want rather than what you don't want, that the results that you can get in your life. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here's the other point. The first time I asked you to go as far as you could, right? And you said yes. But the second time you went even further. So my question to each and every one of you is, where in your life are you only going so far? Where in your life are you telling yourself, I can't go any further? Is it really you can't? Or you won't? Or you don't believe it's possible? Because I'm here to tell you that you have nowhere near tapped into your potential. You are always more than you think you are right now. Well done. And take a seat. So here's what I want you to do. When you came in, you were given a little manual, a little workbook. So this is a time where you're actually going to do some work. And I've said, focus on what you want rather than what you don't want. So the page I want you to turn to is page 7 in that little notebook. It's page 7. Now here's the thing, have you ever noticed that when people ask you, what do you want? You can't think of a single thing. You can think of all the things that you don't want, but it's very hard to think about what you do want. And this is because most of us have got more reference points of all the jobs we've had in the past that we didn't like. The bosses that were awful, the team that we didn't like, the long hours that we worked. It's easy to think about what you don't want. So, here's the deal. I'm going to let you first make a note of all the things that you don't want. Just 3 to 5, because I'm not going to give you too long, and I want you to think quickly. So think of what you don't want in a job, in a work, in your business, in being an entrepreneur. What is it you don't want? So if somebody were to offer you a job, it's like, no, I don't want that. So think of the jobs or the work that you've had in the past, or even people that you know who've been in horrible jobs. What wouldn't you want? And just quickly write that down right now, what you don't want in a job. So maybe think about the type of boss that you wouldn't want to work for, or the hours that you wouldn't want to work, or maybe the type of industry that you wouldn't want to work in. So first think about what you don't want, and do it as quickly as possible, because sometimes speed gets those creative juices flowing. So as quick as you can. 3 to 5 points of what you don't want. Good. So that's the easy part, focusing on what you don't want. So most people have no effort writing down what they don't want. And I often get people come to me and they say, Carol, my life's a disaster. And I say, well, what do you want? They say, I don't know, but I don't want this and I don't want that and I definitely wouldn't want that. And then they wonder why their life is a complete disaster, because they're focusing on what they don't want rather than what they do want. So here's the second part to that exercise. So in one column, you've written what you don't want. Against each point that you've written what you don't want, here's what I want you to do. I want you to ask the question, well, if I don't want to work in that sort of company, what do I want instead? If I don't want to work in that, with those kind of people, what sort of people do I want to work with instead? So just ask yourself, what do I want instead? Against each of the don't wants, ask what you do want instead. And that's going to give you a list of positive toward what you want. So again, I'm just going to give you about a minute to ask that question on all the points that you've written of what you don't want. What do you want instead? Quick as possible. Keep asking that question. What do I want instead? You starting to get some ideas, some positives? So it's okay to say what you don't want. However, every time you hear someone say, I don't want this, quickly ask, what do you want instead? So going back to some of the examples that I gave you earlier, when you said maybe to your partner, don't forget your briefcase, what do you want instead? Remember to take your briefcase. If you don't want your friend to slam the door, what do you want instead? Could you close the door quietly? If you don't want to mess up the next job interview, what do you want instead? And of course, if you don't want your friends to eat all your chocolate, would you like some fruit? So you've got a list of what you don't want, but now you've got a list of what you do want. So your first key to success here is focus on what you want rather than what you don't want. And because now you've got a few things on your list of what you do want, I want you to keep that list with you today. Because later on today, you're going to have an opportunity to network with other people in this room. And I want you, when you network, to tell people what you do want. Because chances are, in a room like this where there's a couple of hundred people, there could be somebody who can help you with what you do want. However, if you don't know what you want, nobody can help you. So keep that focus of what you do want, because remember, what's on the inside affects the results that you get on the outside. Now, one of the fields that I work in, one of the fields that I specialize in, is called neuro-linguistic programming, NLP. And it's been called many different things. It's often called the new art and science of getting what you want, fitness for the mind. Another nice expression is it's the study of the structure of subjective experience, whatever that is. So my definition, very, very simple. It's the user manual for your mind. So let me ask, have any of you ever behaved in a way that's inappropriate? Yes, and I want to hear about it later. Have any of you ever said the wrong thing at the wrong time? I know I have. Or have any of you ever felt emotions come up and thought, oh, not now, it's not appropriate to sort of feel sad, or you've laughed at the wrong time? Well, one of the things that NLP does is it helps you become aware of your patterns in thinking, in behavior, and it also helps you make very rapid shifts and changes very, very quickly in how you feel and how you behave at any given moment. Because here's the thing, have you ever noticed that when you're feeling good, you get a much better result than when you're not feeling good? Have you ever noticed that? So have you ever noticed that when you're feeling depressed, demotivated, no energy, things kind of don't go so well? And yet when you're feeling energized, confident, excited, powerful, you start getting the results that you want. So if I could show you a way to feel totally confident, totally motivated, totally powerful, absolutely instantly, would that be useful? Would there be value in that for you? Yeah? So if you're about to go into an important interview to get the job that you really want and do what you love and love what you do, you can instantly feel totally motivated and totally excited, totally energized. Or if you're about to do an important presentation, you can quickly tap into being totally motivated and totally confident. That would be useful, wouldn't it? So the technique that I'm going to share with you, I need to share, it's not a permanent fix. So it doesn't mean that you're going to be running around like an Energizer bunny. However, it is going to get you out of a jam. If you need to feel instantly confident, you can do it instantly. If you need to feel totally powerful, you can go into that state immediately. Useful, huh? So I have a name for this technique. It's called How to Pull Your Head Out of Your Backside When You're in a Jam and You Need to Feel Good Really Quickly technique. Snappy little title, isn't it? So, how does it work? Well, let me ask, is there anybody here who works out regularly, maybe goes to the gym or goes to fitness classes? Have we got anybody here who works out regularly? Good, quite a few of you. Okay, and have we got any people here who think about going to the gym or working out regularly? Yes, that's what I thought. Okay, so let me come down and just ask a few questions here. Can I have the hands up of the people who do go and work out regularly? I think I saw your hand go up. So, you speak English okay? Fabulous. Okay, because you've heard my Greek. So, you go to the gym or you go to a fitness class?
Go to the gym every morning.
Every morning?
Yes.
What time do you go?
6:30.
Okay, so, yes. That's commitment. Now, when you first wake up in the morning, which I guess then if you're going to the gym at 6:30, that must be about 5:30, 6.
Yeah.
So when you first wake up at 5:30, do you sometimes think, oh, I'm tired?
Oh, for sure.
Okay, so when you go to the gym, you're already tired. How do you feel after you've worked out? How do you feel after the gym?
Really boosted.
Really boosted. Okay.
Energized.
Energized. Okay, great. Let's have another person who goes to the gym regularly. This is how I get my workout. Okay, do you go to the gym or
No,
you go
I
to...
do sports.
You do sports. Okay, what sort of sports do you do?
Horse riding.
Horse riding.
Yes.
Okay, and do you do it morning or evening or any time?
Anytime, but I prefer in the evening.
In the evening.
Yes.
Okay, so does that sometimes mean that you've had a long day and you're tired before you go riding?
It's always a long day, but mostly I prefer doing any sports in the evening. I have more energy in the evening because for example, I also go running.
Okay.
I prefer at night, at 9 o'clock with the stars.
Okay, so even though long day, she'll go running or horse riding. How do you feel after you've been running?
Fabulous.
Fabulous. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. If you want to feel totally boosted, if you want to feel totally fabulous, go running in the evening at 9 o'clock or get up at 5:30 in the morning and go to the gym. There you have it. Easy, simple technique, go to the gym. Now, I'm sensing that some of you are not very enthusiastic about that. And you're probably asking, well, Carol, is there an easier way? Is there a simple way? Actually, what our lovely friends here have shown us is that when you run and when you go to the gym, you move your body differently. And when you move your body differently, you feel different. Have you ever noticed that? So, for example, if I were to stand here like this, you probably know by my physiology and my voice pitch that I'm depressed. Not a very useful state for going and doing what you love and loving what you do. So the quickest way to change how you feel is literally to change your posture, to change how you're moving. And quite frankly, ladies and gentlemen, looking at some of you right now, you look very depressed. So are you up for another experiment? Because we're doing it anyway. So can I ask you all to stand up? Okay, again, no pens, paper, no handbags, nothing needed. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to bring your hands together like this. So some of you are thinking, oh, is it prayer time already? So here's what I want you to do. I'm going to count slowly to 4. And as I count to 4, I want you to take your hands slowly out to shoulder level, and then you're going to clap them together all at the same time. Just sounds nicer when we do it all together. So, are you ready? Here you go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, good. 1, 2, 3. Was that the men? Just a little bit of premature closure. Here we go. I can't get away with that joke in the Middle East. One, 2, 3, 4. Who was it round here who was behind? Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's be honest here. What sort of state is that slow movement putting you into? Kind of like bored, relaxed. Not a very useful state for going in and getting the job of your dreams. So here's what I want you to do. Hands together. As quick as you can, I want you to take your arms up and clap them together. Up, up, up. Thank you very much. So that, my friends, is how you get a standing ovation. Stay standing. So how do you feel now? How do you feel? Do you start to feel some energy moving in your body? And yet all I did was get you to arms up and down, up and down. I got you to move differently, and you started to feel differently. So when you engage your body, you start to feel differently. So when you want to start focusing on what you want, stand up. Stand the way you be standing. If you were totally confident, motivated, powerful. Because when you're in a good state, you get a much better result than when you're not in a good state. Are you up for one more experiment with me? Okay, you're going to love this. I'm going to put some little words up on the screen here. So here's what I want you to do. We're going to engage your voice. We're going to engage your body, your physiology, and really move up into a good state. So what you're going to do is you're going to pat your chest up here, and you're going to go, yes, I can. Yes, I can. I can do anything. Yes, I can. You got it? So we're going to do that twice. And I'm not a great singer. I love singing, but somehow people don't like my singing. So your goal is to drown out my voice. You've got to be louder than me, and I've got a mic on as well. So here we go. Pat your chest. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. I can do anything. Yes, I can. Again, yes, I can. Yes, I can. I can do anything. Yes, I can. Fabulous. That is part one. Stay standing. So the second part goes something like this. I'll again put the words up on the screen here. And it goes something like, I'm awesome. I'm awesome. I can do anything. Yes, I can. Try that. I'm awesome. I'm awesome. I can do anything. Yes, I can. So that's the whole thing. So we're going to put it together, and we're going to do it a little bit faster. Are you ready? Here you go. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. I can do anything. Yes, I can. Again, yes, I can. Yes, I can. I can do anything. Yes, I can. I'm awesome. I'm awesome. I can do anything. Yes, I can. How do you feel? Awesome. So look, just stay standing for one moment longer. So I did a number of different things there. First of all, I made you stand up, and I changed your physiology. The second thing I asked you to do was to say some words which meant that you couldn't get your negative voice inside your head. I like to call it the oh shit voice. Couldn't get inside your head because you were saying, yes, I can, I'm awesome. You couldn't get your negative voice in. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be honest. Next time you go to an important meeting or an interview or down to the bank, and you're standing out there going, I'm awesome, I'm awesome. They may look at you a little bit strangely if you're going, hello. And you may actually be sent off to the mental institute. So may I suggest that you can do this inside your head before you go into that meeting. You're going, I'm awesome, I'm awesome, hello. So that you've got your own little power mantra. And I suggest we have fun with this and do it a little bit more during the day as well. So, may I suggest that you sit down now, but as you sit down, you sit the way you'd be sitting if you were totally confident, totally powerful, totally awesome, and stay that way for the rest of the day. So, two very simple keys to your success to do what you love and love what you do. It's simply focus on what you want rather than what you don't want, and change your physiology, your posture, so you're sitting or standing the way you'd be sitting or standing if you were motivated, confident, and powerful. Now, I'm going to hand over to the group because this is the point where we have some audience interaction and I have some questions. So I'm looking for Maria. Hi.
Thank you so much. It was fabulous. You are
And
fabulous.
she's actually an
You're awesome.
And you're awesome. You can do it to other people. Yes, you are.
Yes, you are awesome. I loved it.
Have you got some questions?
Yes, and we've got some questions. We must have some questions from the audience as well. Λοιπόν, αυτή είναι η στιγμή των ερωτήσεων. Εγώ έχω ήδη μία ερώτηση για την Κάρολ και μετά φυσικά περιμένουμε ερωτήσεις, όχι τοποθετήσεις, από εσάς. So, the first question that we got was, I lost my job and it's not my fault. Or someone else saying, I want to find a job, but I can't find one. It's not my fault. So, what about that? Αυτό που τη ρώτησα είναι, μάλλον η ερώτηση ήταν, έχασα τη δουλειά μου, αλλά δεν φταίω εγώ, δεν είναι κάτι που μπορώ να κάνω, δεν είναι κάτι που φταίω εγώ. Ή προσπαθώ να βρω δουλειά, αλλά δεν φταίω εγώ, δεν βρίσκω.
Okay, it's a good question because here's the thing. I'll give you an example. Let's say my business is going bust. Let's say my business is going down the drain, it's not doing well. I can blame the bank for not lending me money. I can blame my clients and my customers for not giving me more business or not paying me on time. I can blame my staff for not going out and bringing in more business. I can blame everyone in the whole world, but the fact is my business is still going bust. I'm helpless. Or I can say to myself, my business is going bust. How have I created that? And more importantly, what can I do to start turning the situation around? Now, the difference is I'm not helpless anymore. I'm in the driving seat because I'm taking responsibility. When you blame other people and the situation and the crisis, you're helpless. You become a victim and there is nothing you can do because it's not your fault. So you're giving away all your power. But the moment you want to step into your own power is the moment you say, well, what can I do about this? How have I created this situation? And more importantly, what can I start to do to move the situation around? That puts you in the driver's seat. It puts you in the place of personal power. So it's a start. So your choice, victim or place of power.
Thank you very much, Carol. Την ευχαριστούμε πάρα πολύ. Αν υπάρχουν κάποιες ερωτήσεις από εσάς, πολύ ευχαρίστως να τις δεχτεί. Ναι, παρακαλώ.
The microphone's coming. Great.
Talking before about confidence and doing all these exercises, I was wondering what would you suggest for stage fright, but not. I'm a musician and I play music, and sometimes it's easy and fabulous. Sometimes I get so scared, my hands are trembling, even if I think that I'm fabulous and I can do anything like the song we sang. Sometimes it still stays. The stage fright is there. What would you suggest?
A couple of things I would suggest. People often ask me if I get nervous before coming on stage. And I dislike the word nervous or stage fright. So I usually say, actually, I'm excited. So instead of looking at it as stage fright, I look at it as my body's bubbling with excitement. So that's instantly changing the language and it gives me a different feeling. Stage fright puts me into an unresourceful place. Feeling excited puts me into a resourceful place. So that's one technique that you can use. And what I've just done, which is change your physiology. When you're feeling frightened, again, your whole body collapses. So it's about changing your physiology. And also, one of the areas that I specialize in, NLP, we have a number of techniques that shift people in 10 minutes or less from, an unresourceful place like fear or stage fright into totally powerful and totally confident, and it's a permanent fix. So it's almost like pulling the plug out of stage fright and putting it into something positive. But my first advice to you would be change it from stage fright is I'm feeling excited. Because just that change of word will start to create a shift. If you've got 10 minutes during the course of the day, then I'll do a permanent fix for you with NLP. And what we've just done, that little sort of rhyme, that's also a great anchor that you can use to bring you back into a resourceful place. All right? Does that answer your question or start to answer your question?
Starts to answer my question.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think we've time for one more
Συνεχίζουμε
question.
να λαμβάνουμε μηνύματα από το Twitter, αλλά ναι, θα θέλαμε μία ερώτηση, μία τελευταία ερώτηση για την Κάρολ, παρακαλώ. Ναι, βεβαίως.
I find it very interesting that one of your titles is Fire Starter, and I find it fabulous. And I think that a lot of times it's hard for people, and for me as well, to, figure out what is our title. I mean, what title would be the most representative, let's say. So what made you say to the whole world that you are a fire starter and believe in it and have other people believe in you? So what brought you to this title and not something else? Because, I'm asking because I want this inspiration to keep on, going and create my title.
Okay. Ladies, when you put on a new dress or when you go shopping, do you sometimes go with friends? Or do you sometimes say, hey, what do you think of this dress? How do I look? And sometimes friends will not tell you the truth. And hopefully you've got good friends who will say, actually, have you thought about trying this on? Here's the thing, it's often other people who see the gifts and talents in you rather than, you can't see your own backside. You have to sort of hope that it doesn't look too bad. However, it's often other people that can help you see your gifts and talents. And the Firestarter tag actually came from other friends of mine. Because, we're all unique anyway. But it's kind of like we often cannot see our gifts and talents. It's other people that see our gifts and talents. So, for example, when I first moved into training many, many years ago, it was another friend of mine who was setting up a training company who said, Carol, you'd be good at this. And the more I thought about it, the more I got excited about doing that. So my suggestion would be, ask the people who know you really well what they believe is your uniqueness. And you'll also see on the little workbook that I gave you on page 7, the second exercise, which hopefully you'll do on the next break, is it's asking you, when have you been the most happiest? Where's your passion lie? What are you doing when you feel the most fulfilled, when you feel the most powerful? And that will give you some clues of where your passion lies and where your uniqueness lies. Because I believe when you're doing what you love and you love what you do, you never work a day in your life and it shines through to everybody else and people are attracted to you as well. So does that start to answer your question? Good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let awesome Carol continue her speech. Thank you, Carol.
So I've given you 2 very quick, simple tools for success. Focus on what you want and simply change your physiology. Stand or sit the way you'd be sitting if you were totally confident, totally motivated, and totally powerful. So that's exactly what I did. I focused on what I wanted. And I stood the way I'd be standing if I was totally confident, totally powerful, totally energized. And I took that pair of thick, woolly, fluffy socks and I walked up to that homeless man and I handed them to him. He looked up at me and he said, "Thank you, my dear. That's very kind of you." And I've never forgotten that moment, the gift of giving and the gift of gratitude. So in the spirit of giving, you'll see one of the websites on one of the slides I'm going to put up in just a moment. There is a free 4-week e-video program for you. It's called NLP Uncovered. Absolutely free. If you go to NLP Uncovered, you can sign up for free and it'll give you some tips and reminders of what I've talked about here. And it'll also give you some additional tools and techniques and explain a little about what NLP is. It's completely free, so every week you'll get 2 short 5-minute videos direct to your email, so you can sign up almost immediately. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, if you truly want to be a leader, a leader of your own destiny, moving you towards doing what you love and loving what you do. If you truly want to be a leader, it's very simple. If you want to be a leader, stop following. Stop following and look inside. Because when you look inside, remember you can change your mind and keep the change. To move forward and do what you love and love what you do. Thank you.